Hello, and welcome to the Dimp Digital Podcast. We're on episode number 61, and this time you've got myself, Apps, Logan, and Piper. Gents, how we doing?
Yep, good, thanks.
Yeah, all good.
Superb, nice and smooth, no delays. Got yourselves in order without organising it, so that's good. Great start to it, although we can't guarantee the quality is going to stay that high because, well, we missed basically last week's news because we were waffling about games again. So in the last 3 weeks we've been doing one game heavy week and then catching up on the news. So similar here, we're a little bit behind, but we're going to be playing back some of the old stuff, some of the interesting topics that come out last week, and obviously sprinkling in the recent stuff from this week as well. Let's kick things off with Sony because once again they are making headlines on the rumour mill mainly, but there are reports and lots of stories surfacing around Sony and the PlayStation 4. So I guess the main one, and this is almost a throwback to 4 weeks ago or whatever it was, when we was talking about the Xbox One perhaps releasing a new console or upgrade in mid-cycle, this sort of nonsense. But there's been various different outlets reporting that Sony are working on a PlayStation 4.5 or a PlayStation 4K, essentially. This has come from a number of different sources. Digital Foundry is one of them that's been reported on this. I think Kotaku originally had it. Wall Street Journal now have poked their fucking oar in and reporting that it's going to be announced in October before the PlayStation VR. So it looks like Sony are gearing up to do something with the PlayStation, and reading the various reports, there appears to be 3 theories going on. So what we're going to do is go through each of these theories one by one and just dissect them and see whether we think it's likely, whether we're going to like it, and then speak about the overall situation here at all. So essentially, as I said, PlayStation 4 could be releasing a upgraded version of it. Now, it seems like the main aim of this is just to enable 4K output. Now, before we start going into the individual options they've got, we must mention that 4K output will probably only be on media capability, i.e. a 4K Blu-ray, i.e. a 4K streaming device. I don't see how they can make the PlayStation 4 have enough powerful grunt, to push through 4K gaming. I just don't think that's likely at all. So with that in mind, let's go through the first option, the obvious one, because this happens pretty much every console generation. A new slim PlayStation 4. So this is par for the course, as I said, with generation cycles. We've seen the slim PS3, we saw the slim Xbox 360. We're going to get slimmed and small versions of this. So it could be this is all they're talking about, that it's a slimmed version with 4K output. Logan, have you ever been involved in any of this slim business?
I got the PS1, so that was effectively the smaller slim one.
I forgot it even goes back to then, doesn't it? It even goes back that far. They released an absolute miniature version of that. It was just
like that as well.
Yeah,
liked it.
Tidy that was.
I've also got the probably one of the last gen 360s as well, the black one, which is basically like a slimline 360 really.
Yeah. Does that come on an extended hard drive? So I remember that being one of the balls. Was it an Elite or no? That was a different.
Yeah, I think it might have been the Elite. Yeah. I've got the fucking box here. I can't see it. It's in the way. Bloody hell.
That's all right. Not a problem.
No, I think it was the Elite. Yeah, I think it came with a 250 gig hard drive. £80. I got that for a bargain.
Would that one break?
Yeah, the other one, the fucking disk drive wouldn't work, and I wanted to play GTA 5.
Yeah, and that was right.
I was like, right, new console required then.
That's mad, isn't it? Think about that now. We'd be pulling our hair out if that happened. If these things broke, fucking gotta go and buy another one.
What about the red ring of death then? That happened regularly. No one was crying about. Well, they were crying about. It happened to me, but you just went right.
Acceptable.
I'll get a new one.
Yeah.
I don't know why that was ever acceptable, but anyway.
But slim PS4, I mean, with 4K, we'll say that's going to include, so you can put a 4K Blu-ray in it. That sounds pretty standard to me. That's not going to burn anyone either, is it? If you want 4K, you want 4K output. It's not going to be doing it in your games. It'll do it for your media output, and those that want that could have that. Mr. Piper, I assume this has got no interest to you because it's not really going to offer much. That's what you've currently got.
No, it also means that you have to have a TV that's capable of streaming 4K, so you really have to have quite a newish TV within the last couple of years, essentially. So it isn't something that I'm going to run out and buy if it's that version, the slimmed down version. I've never been one to have gotten a slimmed down version because I've always had the console before that version's come out, and I've never really seen the point. No. But I understand if I definitely bought the console once it's come out, I would have gone for the slim over the non-slim. But so yeah, I'd definitely get it to keep it real and keep it within the times, to bring out a new sort of feel about it. Go slim, go 4K. It makes sense.
Real.
Keep it real.
Where's that come from?
Keep it real.
Tell PlayStation to keep it real.
I can't remember what that's off now. There's some program circulating in the back of my mind about keep it real. Someone will tell us, and it'll be obvious. But yeah, I mean, like you said, it seems the most obvious one. But there are other rumours. This is perhaps a second theory. There are a lot of people are going for this one. A new powerful PS4 designed to run games at a higher graphical capability. So this would be a brave new step, because as far as I know, they've never done anything like this before, and it's not something that's standard in the console market. Now, your hardware stays the same. The components might be changed a little bit to enable it to be smaller, and they've shrunk it or whatever. But to actually increase the output and the power for this, that is new. That is brand new. And with VR around the corner, you perhaps think that maybe they're looking, going, right, can this PS4 have the grunt that we need in 3-4 years' time? Do we need a new model out that's going to be able to push VR to a new level for them? So this one, Mr. Piper, this does have an advantage if you want to go out and buy it. This does, this will give you a better game experience.
Yeah, and as you said, for the people that buy VR, you're going to want to then up ship and get the new one. So if you want that more grunt,
then the cheap version of VR then becomes expensive almost, if you want to take it. You know what I mean? It's like,
I see what you're saying,
plus
but
I get me a Vive. Thank you.
Yeah, I get what you mean, but I always feel like keep pushing the boundaries. No. Keep pushing the boundaries. Keep putting out a little bit of new software and a bit of new hardware. I know you hate this, but keep doing it, improving, but don't improve too much that the people with the first generation are hindered by it.
That's the concern. That is the disturbing.
Just keep improving it slightly. So there's slight improvements. So people like me who don't care that person might have an extra 5 FPS in their game, just do that. That's fine. I don't mind, as long as you're not making massive leaps and bounds, because that's when it becomes a bit unfair. Just keep doing those small improvements, and then when you come around to the 8 years time and the new console comes out, then like bang, you've got the person who bought the first ones gets a whole massive new expansion.
So you're not worried about this as long as it doesn't cause an audience segregation, essentially. That's what you're looking for. Logan, if this does cause an audience segregation, we go down this route now. That's surely that's naughty, innit? That's crooks of the week.
Look, fuck that, right? If I'm not having that. No, I'm right.
We're not saying this is happening. We're exploring this.
No, I'm just going to say, if that does happen, fuck off. I will be livid, because
they've got your money.
I don't like the idea that you could have one. You're sitting there going, oh, it looks amazing. There's me sitting there going, oh, but it could look better. And there's me forked out exactly the same amount of money.
Mate, I've done it twice.
Game.
Yeah, but I'd sort of disagree, because I look at people that have got better TVs than me and that play in their game. I think, theirs look so much better. So a lot of it's also down to do with your TV quality.
I've got a good TV.
Well, someone's always got one better.
I'm just saying that's your choice. If you bought a shit TV, it's not my choice.
Mate. Well, I've got both generation TV. Look at that.
Fucking getting up my nose. Look. You accept it when you buy a first-gen console. You go, right, well, they're going to bring out a slimmer one. But this is the whole point of having a console, is that you're on a level playing field with everyone. No. And you know that you're going to get that, and that'll be the one for a long period of time. I ain't spending 400 quid on a console again.
Trade it in, 180 back. Offsets it, 200. Thank you. Thank you, game, for your custom.
That will never happen.
Well, that's what I'll be going if I have to do this, because that'll be that £200 credit ruined. If they don't have it in white, I'm out. I've got white controllers and a white headset here. I can't be having just black only.
Everything's black in mine. Yeah. Everything, other than my laptop, which is silver, which is a botherance. But anyway.
Dull. So you wouldn't be happy if it was, a more powerful console. Or if it tweaked a little bit more power. But yeah, it runs it a little.
I don't like it.
So it has to be the same hardware level, you're saying?
Yep. But this, I didn't think it would be PlayStation that would do this. I thought it was going to be Xbox. Because
Xbox are doing it.
Well, the thing is,
they're in conjunction with each other. They both know they can get away with it. Therefore, they both think, well, no one else is going to compete with us, so we'll just do it.
Big Phil was very vague in what he said. This stuff seems more concrete. I mean, there's sources also. I mean, it's not concrete. It's still nonsense, but there's actual inside sources that are saying it's already in their research and development, although no one can nail down exactly what it is, so it is still nonsense for that particular part. So you're saying absolutely not option 2, as we call it, a powerful PS4 designed to run games at a higher graphical capability, you're not interested in. You would be very annoyed, in fact. It'd be fair to say.
It's not that I wouldn't be interested in it, I'd just be massively pissed off because I've just fucking bought one.
Well, you shouldn't have let me talk you into it. That's the...
But to be fair, I consider that currently a better investment than I have my Xbox.
Oh, come
really. So I am happy with it, and I haven't really noticed that it needs improving as yet. I mean, I think I haven't really thought, fucking hell, this looks shit.
This is the trouble these days, is because everyone knows everything, and because of places like Digital Foundry, which are great, they pick holes in everything. So every version of a game, you'll get the PC version, you get the Xbox One version, you get the PlayStation 4 version. You won't get the Nintendo Wii version because it ain't fucking on there, so bin that. And what they'll do is they'll actually do side-by-side screenshots, they'll do frame rate tests, all this stuff. So everyone now knows, and everyone then can sit on whatever console they've got saying, oh, Quantum Break only runs at 720p on the Xbox One. That's a load of shit, isn't it? That's a load of shit.
Look,
when you put that on your telly, and you're not going to notice. But because it runs at that native resolution, people start picking holes in it. And one of the things I like about the console is that you didn't have to deal with that nonsense. But now it is creeping in because everything's being compared to a £1,500 PC, which is.
And my point with gaming is that it doesn't. We'll play it, but it doesn't need to be perfectly graphical for you to go
looks
right.
That good yet? So yeah, you're right. It all looks like a game. No way can you say that looks very real. It doesn't really when you look at it. It doesn't.
And this is my point. I mean, for example, Uncharted 4
in real life. Fuck me. I'm not a sadist, am I? Maybe I am. Go on, Uncharted.
Uncharted 4 looked great. It was a great looking game.
Yeah.
I don't need that to be upscaled anymore. What more am I getting out of that?
5 FPS.
The Order, for example, probably one of the best looking graphical games I've ever played.
Textures.
And I can sit there and go, awesome. And I don't sit there thinking, well, if I had a few more frames out of this, or...
The only thing I would say about The Order is get those letterboxes off. Those little they letterboxes, didn't they? Cut the top and bottom off the game to give it that movie feel.
Cinema, right?
Yeah, well, it's not. It's because they knew it would really struggle if that was full screen. I'm telling you that.
I don't know if mine was like that.
Well, we can check it, but I'm pretty sure it was on all.
I am 98% sure I didn't have any letterboxes.
Well, 2% creeps in.
Yeah. I'm thinking about it now, and I don't know.
That goes up to 3%.
Yeah.
I don't know. You played it and I played it. I can't remember. If I did, I didn't notice it overly, but I still thought it was a great looking game. And this is what I mean. I don't know why are we now needing the console was meant to be the affordable option for the masses, and now what they're trying
just buy one of them.
But it's slowly creeping, and they're trying to sort of go, oh, we're going to try and add parts on. We're going to release a more powerful version after 18 months, 2 years. You go, right, well, why are you not just releasing that powerful version at once? You knew it wasn't powerful enough. You knew there wasn't enough space. You still fucking chucked it out there. Don't then expect me to fork out for it later on.
Well, we'll see about that. But the Order was letterbox confirmed. So the 2% doubt has cost Logan. Should really listen to that doubt side of your brain more, I would say.
I don't remember that.
remember that doubt.
Yeah, it's on there, and if it's not, if I find some evidence to suggest otherwise, it'll be corrected at a later date.
I feel like I need to put it on in a minute and just validate. I fucking erased it though. No, I erased it once I did it.
Got rid of it.
So I've already installed it again.
Excuses now, getting out of it.
That'll take 2 years. That'll take 2 years to bloody install that. Anyway, so the new powerful PlayStation 4, not happy in the Logan camp. Now the trouble I see with that particular one is that fine, maybe once if this happens this October or early next year, I'll go right. Cost of an upgrade. How much is it going to cost me? How much can I get for this PlayStation 4? What's the difference? How much am I going to have to pay? Which is fine. I don't. If the power is significant, then I'd be happy to do it. But if it's only a slight improvement, I can't see it being worth it. But what I will say is that when it comes round to buying next PlayStation 5, the next generation, for lack of a better term, you have to be a little bit wary on whether you should bother getting a launch version of the console, because if you know that within 2.5-3 years that a new version is going to come, it's going to be better. You've got to then consider and think, well, I think some people think, well, I'll wait for that, to be honest.
Especially after this gen, where they're releasing the games on One and 360 and PS3 and PS4 to start off with. You go, right,
that first
is there
year,
any real
18 months.
difference? Is there any difference, really?
Yeah.
Probably minimal.
Yeah.
I'll stick it out and wait then.
Yeah, because you're right, there's always a lot of cross-gen early on. The console manufacturers don't want that, but the publishers do, because they want to hit a wider audience. And there are some games that are significantly better, but that seems to have gone now. But I remember the first 18 months of these consoles, maybe 2 years, not a lot on either. Not a great deal on. Scratching around for Game of the Year contenders. We had Titanfall that one year, and I think that was pretty much it. That was like the highlight for everyone. And I had Sunset Overdrive, which is good, and EA Sports UFC made it onto top. I mean, that is bad. That's a bad year, and that's the opening sort of 18 months of it. So there are going to be people out there that look at that and say, well, is there going to be anything good on it straight away? Probably not. There hasn't been this time round. And if I wait 3 years, I could get a newer version of it, more powerful, catch up, and I'm in there. But let's say the last option, it's just the existing PlayStation 4, so no slimmed down version, but just with 4K output. That's all it is. It's just called a PlayStation 4K. Makes sense in that sort of name. I quite like it. And those that want it as a media player can do that. And as I said, it's not going to run games at 4K. So if you're worried about performance issues, that's not going to cost you. Viper, the media player, no slim. That could...
So yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it at all. To be honest, all three options I'm perfectly content with. So I don't mind at all. Yeah, that's even better, to be honest. I obviously, if they don't do a hardware upgrade in terms of for gameplay and stuff like that, yeah, that's sweet. But if they do, they do. But this they don't. So I like this option. Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Logan, that's an option you'd prefer, since number 2's dead. 1 and 3 for you, isn't it? Slim.
Yeah, they can do that if they want. I'm just surprised if they'd do that, because I don't really think the market's there for 4K just yet. I think it's coming, but I don't think there's that real desire for it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they've done their market research, but that surprises me.
We do not represent any sort of majority, but who here's got a 4K telly?
Nope. Who's planning on getting one?
No, there's a couple of people at work that have. They like the tech. There's always the tech heads that will get them, but it's not like HD yet, where it's almost a standard. So yeah, it will be for the specialists, won't it, that want 4K media experience. And with the PlayStation 4 starting to find its feet in the streaming department and with apps and whatnot, you can see why people might think, do I need a 4K Blu-ray when I've got the PlayStation 4? I could probably use that as a stream box now. You've got all those apps on there. It's going to be more for that. But
that's where they took the title before, wasn't it, with Blu-ray?
Well, yeah, it did help, but it was about £600 when it first came out at PlayStation 3. And that's my point. That was too early almost. That was almost too early, because people were still on DVDs then. And
this is where I think they might be going a bit, but maybe they're just getting ahead of the curve.
I don't know. When I went shopping for a TV about a year ago, every other TV was a 4K TV, and they were really trying to sell it hard. So
how much more expensive were they?
Oh, you're paying over £1,000 for a TV.
They're coming down though. They are
coming down to get the lower end ones now. Starting to come down. So maybe they're hitting the market just when they're going to start becoming at what you call affordable rate for average Joe.
Yeah, well, I'm not involved, but far from average either. So, So, Logan, which one do you think it will be out of these three? Not what you hope. What do you think they're planning in their little? They're not little. There's a lot of them putting their collective heads together at Sony headquarters. Disappeared, didn't he?
Gone.
Unbelievable.
I do think option 2.
So you think they're actually planning for a more powerful PlayStation, Mr. Piper?
Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be massive. I don't think it's going to be so it segregates the crowd. I think it's going to be small little wins that they can get in there, so that someone that buys it feels like, I've got a tiny bit of a better computer or better console, but it's nothing going to be like It's going to make some people, like probably yourself, go out there and think, crap, I need to upgrade. But majority of people that play it for casual gaming, like me,
ain't going to be interested.
I will not be going out and purchasing it. I've got no need for care.
No, and you may look at someone like Biff who's got PlayStation VR. He might consider that more powerful.
Oh, he's always loving that type of stuff, isn't he? So
I spoke to him thinking he was going to say, "Oh, that's a bloody rip-off," but he was more than happy. He was like, "Yeah, that sounds fine." I was really shocked, but I think it could be the more powerful PS4 as well.
Yeah.
I think, but I will say that at the moment the alarm bells are ringing slightly because it's all we really know and have, isn't it? Is that we've had one console with the same hardware, and that we can stick with it for that time. So it's a little bit of a venture into the unknown, but in the interest of this being kind of like my own personal 2016's my year of gaming experimentation, trying Kickstarters and whatnot, I am warming to this idea, providing this goes against what you've just said. If I'm going to do it, I want the upgrade to be significant because I want it to feel like I've invested my money into something worth doing. I'm not saying that people get left in the dust, but I want to be able to sit down and say, I know that this plays better on this system.
I get what you mean, but I don't.
Polarising opinion, no doubt.
Just so I'd be annoyed if, for example, and I can see where people will get annoyed with stuff like that. Is it like, for example, in FPSs where that extra frame rate per second really does actually make a difference for people at the top of the game. Yeah. It
does make a better playing experience, no doubt. And people, they will be all over that, and it'll be people that want to look into it and have it. So we'll see. We'll see that it looks like something's cooking. Something is cooking already. So let's move on to. So we're still on Sony, PlayStation VR, a couple of small things that came out. So there's more rumours. We love a rumour. That's all we deal with in here. We don't deal with actual news. It's rumours.
No facts.
Just subjective rubbish that is reported.
Suits Logan down to the ground.
I think it's more interesting than the news because the news is fucking boring sometimes. Game A, got to the top of it. Shut up. Anyway, so. This seems like I'd never thought they would do this, but there are rumours that PlayStation VR is going to come to PC and be compatible. Sony
I heard that.
Sony are looking at that, which when you think about it, when you take a step back, that is an absolute no-brainer, isn't it, Krogan? Absolute no-brainer to make that available on PC for people.
Absolutely. I don't know whether it will be via an adapter or.
Could just be I don't know. Yeah, we don't know. I mean, it could just be a USB plug-in. They somehow adapt it, but maybe you buy a PC version of it and it works slightly differently. But to tap into that market and then to have a very cheap version of it on the market compared to the others would be a shrewd business decision.
Get right up Oculus's nose.
It might do. There's nothing really else to say, is there, on this Piper? Apart from it would be a good move for them to at least try and get in there. And get some
it'd be the best move that they could make. Like, I would consider buying one if I knew it was
PC, not Mac.
Well. Well, they all say that.
Microsoft would go,
can't they really, can they? Because if people...
Microsoft love that, because Oculus is Facebook, isn't it? So it's not, Microsoft haven't got their own VR, so they don't care.
No, and don't forget you've got people like Chappers who are running around on Linux, for crying out loud. It's got nothing to do with Microsoft. Windows only. They wouldn't be stupid enough to do that because we've already got cross-play on PC. You've got other things like that. You've got App Store stuff appearing, within the... you can stream to your PC. That's coming soon. So they're obviously opening these ports up. I don't think they quite... Microsoft aren't Xbox. Microsoft are Microsoft, so they're very open. It's just there's always an Xbox division under them that will look at things and might go, oh, bloody hell. But Microsoft as a whole will be like, yeah, get involved. Get that on it.
Maybe it'd be compatible with Xbox.
But imagine that.
Literally,
get that.
Zero chance.
Well, it's already on Windows. Why not Xbox?
Mate, they won't even open it up so they can fucking play together, let alone
Xbox
PS
want it.
Xbox are using the Rift. Think of that's the cheaper version of the PlayStation headset.
Well, it could be.
They only would do it out of principle, out of the brand, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. They'll be like, no chance. But I think we should open that 2% up because we know the 2% of doubt can actually pull through and get the actual.
Not convinced
facts.
About this.
Well, you can look it up, mate. The order.
I want to know where you've confirmed that source from.
Several sources of videos if you want to watch them. They're all lined up waiting. But back on the PlayStation VR subject. So coming to PC, perhaps we'll look at. But here's something interesting. So I went into Southend again. I went to that local game shop of mine, the smaller one, not the large one, the good one. And I was chatting to that bloke again behind the counter.
Probably thinks you're fancy him.
Well, I only go there every couple of weeks. He starts chatting to me. I was trying to get out of there. I wanted to get Subway. He started waffling, so I was like, well, to be fair, I'll give him time of day. I'm not anything better to do. I'm not on a meter because I've parked in a non-premium parking zone. I have to walk about 10 minutes, but I'd rather do that than pay the £2 charge. Because bearing in mind, I'm trading in a game that's worth £8. I have to pay £2 to park. I've lost half of it nearly. So that's that thinking there.
Logic.
Efficiency. So I was saying, how many PlayStation VRs have you sold? And he said, he sort of went, about 4. And I was like, 4? That's not very many. And I looked, and they're asking for a £100 deposit, so you can see why people aren't laying that down. And he was going, yeah, but I think it'll pick up. Then he said, Game, the overall retailer, bought half of the UK stock that was coming in. So all the stuff that was being imported, Game have got half of it, which is a significant chunk. So if you want to get your PlayStation VR, Game are likely to have some because they've probably got the most in the UK. And I was like, oh, that's fine. He went, yeah, so we've got about half of them, which is about 6,000. I thought, 6,000? That means there's only 12,000 shipped into the UK.
Bye.
Am I mad in thinking that's very low? 12,000 units. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking this. What do you make of that? For amount of new units coming in this October.
Trying to work it out.
12,000. It's 40 million PS4s in the world. You know, we're not the world. We are a tiny little island on that. But you got to bet there's a few million PlayStation 4s. 12,000 just seems really low.
Maybe the uptake. Maybe it's just for the first week, and then afterwards, I think they'd rather build it at sort of a smaller amount, sell that, and say, well, we need to build some more in case it just doesn't really take off. I guess, unlike the console, they don't want to go and build a load knowing they're going to shed a load straight away. If it doesn't take off, then they're like, well, we've got all this hardware sitting around doing nothing now.
Yeah, I mean, it's the more it's the sensible move, I guess, rather than just to mass produce them and ship them out to a market which might not adopt it. I don't know, 12,000 seems low to me. Logan, you're trying to do some numbers there. I don't know if you've come to any conclusions, but...
Mr. Count.
This is UK only, so UK stock, we know.
I'm just trying to split that up into, like, counties or something, or just saying...
How many counties are in the country?
Oh, God.
I'm struggling with that at the minute.
We're all going off piece.
What if there was 10 counties?
Well, there's definitely more than 10.
Right.
There's like about 100.
Bother with bollocks like that. Right, we're not doing the counties thing because no one knows. Fuck's sake.
I'm trying to split it out to think...
Is it low or not for the whole UK? Northern Ireland included.
I suppose it is.
Done. Right. Is this a supply and demand trick, maybe? You know, have it out of stock so people are like, oh, what do you want some of that? Can't get Jimmy at this Christmas. Like the Wii was. That wasn't a low stock, that's because people fucking shit their pants and all got it. But could it be a little marketing trick, Krogan?
I don't know. I think if someone wants it, they're still going to want it.
Yeah, but
I don't know.
It looks good.
We've sold out of our initial stock. We've taken all the pre-orders.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but there's fucking we've got 500 for Essex.
Yeah.
We are doing the counties. Yeah. So if you had 500 for Essex...
There's going to be about like 50 for Essex.
Well, the fact that he said he'd only sold 4, but seemed almost impressed of himself, kind of... I don't know.
Well, that's 4 in that little store in Southend. That's not the big store.
Yeah, I guess so. That's true, actually. When you split it down by store level, it's the way to do it, isn't it? Not counties.
There'll be about 500 game stores in the country. He sold 4, so that's about, 2,000 already sold, if they all did 4.
It will depend on the size of them. That small one will not get many. The bigger one in Southend will probably get more. That just seemed low. I don't know. Maybe it's not. I mean, that could be a sort of a figure for new tech, but... We'll see. 12,000 seems low for the entire UK. If what he said wasn't bollocks, he could have been talking shit, which, you know, we all do at times.
Mate, there's a reason why these people are not accountants, so no. I'm just saying that
they might have
that reliable?
Maybe not, but he must do the figures for all the stock coming in. Must have an idea.
So Game has 277 stores in the UK.
There you
go. So what's 6,000 divided by 277?
But then it's not including online sales as well, your stats.
That is a good point.
I'm just trying to get it. If we can get it to store, you can go, right, it's how many people are likely to get them from that store on average then it might seem low.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm just trying to get that down.
If each store has sold roughly 4, like that store, which is a small one, then they've already sold 1,000 of them. So they've sold 1/6 in store already.
Yeah,
if they did 10 in each store, that's nearly 3,000. So they got to sell
so about 20 per store. There you go.
25, 26 per store, essentially, if you want to break it down like that.
Not including online.
Not including online. I don't know how that'll work. Maybe they'll probably keep it on. Maybe not. Not for that sort of price.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And you got to go £100.
Yeah, maybe not. It's just a little thing I picked up, and I thought, you know what, no one else is going to bring this up. No one probably has even heard about that, but it seems low, but maybe it's not when you actually break it down properly. But we ain't got time to do that live. There was a point to me sending this out beforehand, so you could do this before, and we didn't have to do it on air. But
I'm like Carol Vorderman. I do it live.
Well, actually, I did stats.
Yeah,
so,
Piper done that for you. You sat there and then still trying to work out of his fucking letterbox on the order, so it's not going to that bollocks. Right, this subject I think hopefully will generate some decent conversation, not the bollocks we just had to listen to about Sony for the last half hour.
This is facts.
This isn't facts either. This is a game released by That Dragon. It's called That Dragon Cancer. Now, one of their developers, Ryan Green, who's the designer actually on the game, has caused. It's hit the news. You know, he wrote a blog and claimed that the game itself has not generated a single dollar of revenue. And he's saying basically, I mean, I'm paraphrasing. I sent you both the link to read through. He doesn't completely lay into Let's Plays and stream, but he kind of suggests that people seemed more happy to watch someone else play this game all the way through rather than buy it. So the game clocks in, and I looked on how long to beat. The longest clocked time on the game is 2 hours 9 minutes. That's the longest one. That is someone who spent every single look and cranny they looked for everything. The average time's about 1 hour and 55 minutes. So it's, you say 2 hours long, this game, essentially. It's £10.99 on Steam currently. Full uploads on YouTube. So you could stream, you could basically capture the game and upload that as a video, and people seem happy enough to watch that. So, what do we make of all this? Piper, you love an indie. You love an indie.
Do like an indie. I do like an indie.
Does Ryan Green have a point here? The fact that they're not making as much revenue as they expected, perhaps because people seemed more happy to watch this game being played rather than go out and buy it themselves.
He's definitely got a point. So there was a game, I can't remember what it was called, the one that you played through, that was about an hour and a half long.
The Beginner's Guide.
Beginner's Guide, that's it. I watched that through. I'd never brought it.
What did you think? Did you?
It was a good game. It was a good game. I don't need to play it because I watched it. So I completely get where he's coming from, because like I wouldn't get anything out of it from playing it, and the type of game that they've made is much like that, and it would be. It's a game where if you've watched it, you don't need to play it because it's very story driven, and it's short. But the difference between that and the Beginner's Guide is the Beginner's Guide was like £2.50. I would happily still think maybe I'll just give them the £2.50. I've watched it.
Right.
£10.99. Come off it for not even an hour. That's ridiculous. That's they're asking a lot. And to be honest, I think he's all about the money, to be honest, because they've just released a documentary on Steam as well about the game. So it's like $3.99 to rent for 2 days. To rent, it's $6.99 to buy for this bloody film that they've made as well behind the game. It's like, come off it, guys. They're obviously clearly driven by the money side of things. Good cause, but driven by the money.
You know what the game's based on, don't you?
Yeah. It's all about his son, really, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not convinced it is all about the money, considering.
I've got a feeling it's about the principle.
Yeah.
Well, it's about the principle, but they're focusing heavy on the money.
Yeah, to be fair, like he's got a point. Like, no doubt they wanted to tell this story because it's very, very personal to one of the team. But to then, if that's the case, fine. But then to then write a blog almost complaining about money not being made, you then you open yourself up to be that target, don't you, by mentioning it in the first place by saying, "Oh, we've not made $1 from this." I mean, I know they're probably in it to make $1, but the whole point of it was to be that you could tell this heartbreaking story and go through. So you watched from the beginning, the beginner's guide. Sorry, I'm going to go back to you, Logan. Actually, make sure you get your say on this. Does the fault sit with the developer? Because should the game not be more engaging or increase its length, make people want to play it? Now, if I watched a stream of someone playing Uncharted or whatever, I would still want to play it because it's got other elements to it. Are they, he's making a game like this, is that what the cause is, really?
Well, look, I watch, or I used to at least, and I still try to watch a lot of Let's Plays because it gives me a flavour of what that game is about. It's got some prick
waffling.
There is some waffle in it.
If it ain't me, it's someone else. So
I tend to find it amusing. I won't watch people that aggravate me. I don't tend to watch playthroughs necessarily as much. But I see, the thing is, I watch full playthroughs on games that grip me, but I wouldn't want to play, if that makes sense. So
I wouldn't watch Uncharted. You're right. I wouldn't watch it because there's no point. I want to play it.
Yeah. So I think there's that in it, and I've got no interest in sitting there in watching a game. If it's a linear story that I can watch, well, why would I want to do that? I don't know. I don't understand it, but I can understand why people do that. The same reason why people download music for nothing, or because we've got that culture. So people will do that. If it's there for nothing, why am I going to go and spend 11 quid on it? Wow. Regardless necessarily of the amount of the content or the amount of effort there, because you as average Joe don't care that he's put thousands of hours into it and they got Joe Blogs to do the music and that was all done properly. They know that when you release a game and it's high profile or not necessarily, people are going to play it. And sometimes it works to your advantage that it gets it out there to the masses and they buy it. Yeah. And sometimes like this, it won't. And I sympathise with him because I can imagine the amount of hours that you've put into all of this, that if someone then made some money off it and you didn't, you'd be pissed off as well. So
for the record, we're in the red, so it's slowly getting bankrupt, this fund. So if anyone does want to help with finances, send me a cheque made payable to me directly, and I'll make sure it goes directly into the Dimp fund.
And I just want to clarify, I said he's made no revenue on it.
He must have made, essentially.
So profits.
Yeah, so he made no profits.
When he nets it out, he hasn't made any money.
Yeah, so
he's covered his costs.
Yeah.
Right, so
he ain't out of them on the team.
All right, so they say they ain't
paid his wages, basically, but he hasn't earned any extra.
Yeah, so he's earned money off it, but what he's knocked about is the fact that he ain't earned a big buck off of it to make his next game or whatever, or to go out and buy the car he never. I don't know, but I can understand that. I can understand that he did it that way, but at the same time, look, mate, if you're going to make a game that's better off with people watching it, then, well, what can I say? If it's more like
$10.99, ridiculous.
The new
Hallmark 2 here.
Yeah. Piper doesn't want to pay more than $5 for indie games.
How long was Journey? Wasn't that long, was it?
No, Journey.
How much is that?
Tops 2 out. How much was that?
Similar price, really.
Similar price, yeah. I think it was about £10.
There's no point in knocking it then for its price, because it's a similar price game to others out there, and that's fine. I'm not even pissed off about it.
Yeah, but I hadn't watched it. I hadn't seen it.
That's because I told you to play it.
Yeah, exactly, before playing it. If someone had told me, but then there's going to be people that go out there and go, "Oh, just watch that, it's fine."
So can you imagine now that if you watch Journey before, you'd have been, I don't know, some games you have to play to understand, that has, even if I would watch Journey, I don't feel like I would understand what's going on.
Well, there's a bit of exploration around Journey. You can go and search some different sides of the map and stuff like that. It's not just straight through. Whereas I've not actually watched any of the Let's Plays of this Dragon Cancer. Yeah. That Dragon Cancer. So I can't really comment on what it's like. But if it's anything like the beginner's guide, then it is very much you have to do exactly what you have to do, and there's no different about it whether you play it or watch it. Whereas with Journey, you could probably make it a little bit different. You can make it into your own, and you can bump into other people and stuff like that. So there is a little bit of extra to it that maybe might make you want to go and play it. Whereas there are games that don't do that. So I probably need to watch a Let's Play of that Dragon Cancer.
Oh, don't give him the money then. Just do what he's saying. Don't do. Fine.
Who's to say
we know
that
what side of the fence you fall on then.
Who's to say that if people hadn't been doing these Let's Plays or anything, that they would have even broke even? So,
well, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's true. Like that beginner's guide game, apps I'd never heard of, and I went get it. He got the revenue because I told him to get it.
But this is what I'm saying. So it could have been through word of mouth and other people getting it that they actually broke even on it. So I don't know. There are different. By the sounds of it, he's saying, well, if no one did videos of my game, then everyone would have bought it. Well, I didn't know about it particularly. Yeah. We're not particularly clued up or eager to play it. So what are we doing then?
Wow.
I'm not saying it's probably a great story and it's probably really gripping, but
sad.
It's very
sad.
Yeah, but and I'm sorry, but most people play games to get away from the realities of life and the sadnesses. So maybe it just isn't.
Pick a different subject matter, son. Is that what you're telling him?
Yeah. Well, maybe it's just like I wouldn't be that interested. I'd rather shoot something than listen to a story about cancer. I don't know. Maybe the subject matter of it's a bit too real for people as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's not going to be for everyone, and they must have known that going in. But I've just put in that Dragon Cancer onto YouTube to see what videos are up. First one that comes up, I'm not going to mention the name in case they get hate mail or something, but it says that Dragon Cancer, it's 1 hour 49 minutes long, and it's had 2 million views, 2,600,000 views.
Make it that one after this podcast as well. Add one to that.
I've not clicked on it. I was just in the main bit. I wouldn't click on that out of respect. No, but do you know what I mean? I think that's where they make a mistake by looking at that part of the game, that part of the equation where 2,600,000 people watched that, they could have all bought it.
Yeah, but are they all watching it all the way through? And this is what is getting on my nerves a little bit. So, for example, some of the Let's Plays I've watched have got 1.2 million views or whatever. Yeah. You go, right, they're not fucking... All these big companies aren't going, we could have had 1.2 million extra buy. No, people are watching it, not just necessarily for the game, but because they like the people that are on that channel. I don't know. It might not be like that for this, but I'm just a bit wary of just going, well, they could have had an extra 2.6 million copies sold.
No, doesn't work like that, no. I think that's part of it. So, final question to you, Mr. Piper. Should people be able to upload full playthroughs of games?
I think, in my opinion, yes, but not in one video.
Yeah.
I think maybe there should be, if you're going to do a Let's Play, maybe it gets capped to like 20 minutes. When as I said, I watched a beginner's guide. The first time I watched a Let's Play that was 20 minutes long. Yeah. And I wanted to buy it after that, and I just never got around to it. And actually, I never finished watching it. So it does. I think that's enough to whet your appetite and think, well, bugger, I know what's going to happen in the first 20 minutes, but I really want to know what happens at the end. I'll go out and buy that and play it, because then you're a bit more immersed. Yeah. But if you're people uploading like full hour and a half to 2 hours, then it sort of ruins it a little bit, I think. So I think Let's Plays are there to stay, keep them, but just maybe regulate them a little bit.
Yeah, so if someone uploads it with no commentary and just the games, you feel that's a little bit cheeky?
Yeah, I think that's a bit naughty. As I said, I feel like it should be someone commentating, someone walking through, because you got your director's cuts or your reaction type videos and stuff like that. So it's sometimes good just to hear what people's thoughts are.
Yeah, because you're not just cut and pasting someone else's work. Then you're adding your own spin on it, commentating, putting effort into it, just by capturing the footage of you playing, uploading.
Yeah, yeah. You wouldn't upload Batman versus Superman onto bloody YouTube, would you? The full film with no commentary, because you get bloody thrown in jail.
That's another thing, isn't it? What's the difference between that and that? But that that could be a subject for another day. I mean, it's very can be confusing, the gaming world, is what rules you can and can't do, and it's a tricky one. Since you've had all these streams, arguably more people are now introduced to the game, more people playing, but at the same time, there are people that feel like they've been stiffed a little bit because people aren't buying their games. But I would always argue, if you make the game engaging enough to play, then people will play it because they'll want to play it, not just watch it. So that kind of falls in that one. We are running long, so let's crack out the next few subjects. In fact, it takes as long as it takes. So this is an old one, but I thought I'd pick it up because it's another interesting kind of subject matter. Star Fox game difficulty to be included. So there's going to be a game difficulty on this, which is basically you being invincible, so you can't be defeated. So you can play through the game and not lose. So you know how you done that demo, Piper, and failed and died? They could have switched that on for you, and you would have got to the boss and done it at EGX. So I'm not bothered too much about Star Fox Zero because the game, that console itself, we know it's aimed at a different audience. Younger people can now pick this up and play it through, and they'll get a sense of satisfaction. They're not going to die, not going to be frustrated. Logan, you can't see anything bad with this, can you? Invincibility mode is not affecting anyone else who wants to play the game. If it's there for people that want it, if don't want to watch, don't want to play it, don't play it.
Yeah, exactly that. Do it at whatever level you want to do it. What you get the most out of the game from. If you want to play it casually and not worry about dying, then so be it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So I'll tell you who'll be happy with this game difficulty mode. For one, it'll be Biff because he lost his bollocks playing Bloodborne. He couldn't stomach it. It's too hard.
I think they're right as well. I think they are right. But Biff's right to be annoyed. I was trying to get to this, but go on. Well, no, it annoys me because there's a frustration in my life around this at the moment. So there's a level of area on Mad Max where I'm stuck and I can't get by. It's a race. I hate racing games. It's a race part of it, and I'm stuck. And I've just ended up literally. I've never nearly broken a controller in my life. I'm quite passive, but I've nearly broken a fucking controller over that. So I just give me the option to skip it, to be invincible. I don't care. Just let me continue the story. So get it out there. GTA did it. Everyone should follow suit.
Yeah, if you fail,
I've got that off my chest. Sorry.
Well, that was what I was gonna try and get out of you two was, should games like Bloodborne, for example, which doesn't have any difficulty mode, the game is what it is, and it's notoriously difficult. Dark Souls even more difficult than Demon Souls before that. Should a game like that have directs at you loading now? Should a game like that have an easier mode so others can enjoy the game? Or should they not crumble under this pressure of, if you want it to hit the mainstream, we don't want it to hit mainstream. It is what it is. Or do you feel like, as a consumer, obviously, you'd think, I quite like the look of that game, but there's no way I'm going to have the patience or the skill, maybe, to ever get through it. Frustration does set in. And know how annoyed I get at things with games, but...
That's part of the amusement for me.
Dark Zone.
Yeah. Forgot about that.
Yeah.
I applaud Bloodborne for going, do you know what, if you want to play this, look, it's quite hard, but this is how it is, so play it if you want. This is our game, this is how we've made it, so enjoy it. It's not for Bevans. Done. And that's it though. And if you can't do it, you can't do it. It's tough shit. You knew it was going to be hard, and that's not a go at Biff. I'm not having a bash at him for puffing out of it, but
I'm having a go at him because he was like, I want a really hard game. I gave him one and he fucking puffed it.
Yeah, and it is hard. But it's also the sense of reward that when you do eventually do it, it must be really gratifying to sit there going, do you know what, I sat here, I persevered and I did it. I wouldn't buy a game like that because I ain't got any patience. It'd infuriate me. So that's what I mean. But I wouldn't. That's part of what that makes that game what it is. So again, if I don't, that's what I mean. They don't care. They don't give a shit. They go, look, this is how it is. Buy it if you want. And loads of people did.
Yeah.
But I think they're entitled if they really wanted to put it there. But I don't think it'd change the game for many people. What would be Bloodborne if it wasn't really hard? It just becomes another game.
Yeah, I mean maybe it does lose its edge if it does introduce an easy mode. But there are people in Piper's boat who think, I'm never going to have to do that. Like that race is infuriating him. It's obviously really got up his nose.
Mad Max, it's getting binned. I'm never playing it again. I don't care.
You just have to come back to it. It's like that stealth mode.
It's fucking Warner Brothers. They should know better.
No, they don't know any better.
Kids.
No,
I got snarled up on the order. I did it. I was happy with myself, and then I binned it.
Yeah,
that is what happened. Just binned now. Just binned it. They've lost a customer.
Going back to GTA, this is what I wanted to come back in. Say old retro games, for example. And actually, bin old retro games, because they were bloody hard. They were on a different level of hard. I don't think I completed hardly anything on my Mega Drive or my Master System.
I didn't.
Streets of Rage 2. That was about
fucking
it.
Sonic can go fuck itself. That got fucking hard.
The thing was, they were all difficult, and half of them were broken. They didn't work as well as they should have done. And back in we didn't know any different. You'd think, well, that's fine. Nowadays, everything can work. There's patching and stuff. You can fix stuff that you can't actually progress. But they were bloody hard. But going back to, say, GTA Piper, like GTA 5 introduced a mechanic where if you fail the mission 3 times or whatever it is, you can then choose to skip that segment of the mission and carry on. So people who are struggling can do that. And there's no other... I guess they've done that because there's no difficulty mode. You can't just knock it down too easy to continue. It is just one difficulty level, so it's the same size fits all. If you go back to Grand Theft Auto 3, for example, that had no checkpoints during the mission, and if you died, you would have to return to the point of the start of the mission. Some of those missions had you driving halfway across the city and onto other islands and back, and took 15 to 20 minutes. I remember there was one on Grand Theft Auto 3 where you had to drive around in a bulletproof... I think it's called a Patriot, the car. You had to drive on a bulletproof Patriot and destroy these market stalls by crashing into them. Every time you crashed into them, your car took a bit of damage. It didn't take any shot damage because it was bulletproof. And bumping into other cars obviously caused damage. And, you didn't have a lot of room for error. To make it worse, there was a fucking timer on it. I hate timers. I hate being rushed. And it took me fucking weeks to do that. It took me weeks to get past that one bloody mission, and every time I failed, I had to go back to the same guy to restart it. That is what GTA 3 used to be like, and no one gave a shit. Now, people want their asses wiped for them.
Well, I've never completed GTA 3 and never completed any of the GTA games before GTA 5.
They were too hard.
Fucking believable.
Yeah, I remember.
I literally want to make you go back and do them. That is how much. What
I used to do, especially for GTA 1 and 2, I used to wait till apps completed it, then copy SD cards onto my memory card, and then I opened up the map. That's what we did.
Phenomenal.
But I just wanted to mess around in the open world. That's all I wanted.
Maybe we should buy Piper the Grand Theft Auto trilogy on PlayStation 4 and make him play it, because you can get it on PlayStation 4 now.
I've got no time for that.
San Andreas.
I think we can make time for that, and then you'll understand hard. No checkpointing, going back to restart it. But yeah, I just wanted to get a little bit of topic out of you guys on that. It's a fine. People that play in Bloodborne don't want people to have it easy. They want that elitist feeling. So you can't blame them for that. And if the developers are... I'm on the sense where the developer doesn't want to compromise their version of the game by opening it up to make it easy, then fine. But don't write a blog and say people aren't buying it because it's too hard, because you've set yourself up for that. Right, that's your decision. But interesting viewpoints as usual. Let's end on a bad note and then a good note-ish. Evolution Studios is another British developer that's taken a hit in the console wars. It's one of Sony's, they were one of Sony's studios. They are now gone, closed. So that's the people that done Drive Club, Logan, and MotorStorm on the PlayStation 3. Now Drive Club will continue to be supported by a different studio, not those guys. But it's never good news. That's now Lionhead Studios and Evolution Studios in the same month. What's going on?
Don't call yourself studios. Dimp Digital Studios.
Yeah, don't put studios in the end of your name. They will just... I mean, is that a studio? Yeah, shut them down.
Too many
studios anymore.
We ain't got the space for it.
Yeah, shame though.
It is a shame, especially considering we're trying to get London and the UK to be a big gaming.
Yeah, Boris is livid. He's put all his money into the Games Week, and there's two of the big developers shutting down.
Fucking hell! What is this? It is a shame, and it's a shame for Drive Club as well, because I really don't think that got the recognition it deserved for being a great driving simulator. I mean, I really like it.
I will save the main part of this conversation for another day, because there's another point that the game launched in a horrible state.
Yeah,
and the other side of it is that should they be judged on when they release it, and perhaps we'll do that at a later episode. But I understand what you're saying. That cost them essentially, that poor launch. Everyone went, that is fucking shit, and then we picked it up for a tenner with the season pass, 18 months later, which is ridiculously cheap. So it must have been just trying to shift units at that stage.
Yeah, I think so. But I wouldn't have, as I say, I don't know how it was released, and we'll get into that another point. But
yeah,
I really like Drive Club. I haven't been back to it for a while. I've had too much going on, but I'd have no problems going back and doing some races on there.
20 minutes you can drop in for, can't you, and drop off. It's harmless.
Exactly. Yeah.
Fun. Shame though, and let's hope Drive Club is continued. It's actually a decent game. It's got lots of content in it now, and you can
so much in it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous that, and we hope the guys at Evolution Studios, whatever they decide to do, it looks like they're going to maybe set up their own studio and go from there. Find every success in their future endeavours. Final point. Last week, people were losing their fucking minds about this Nintendo NX controller. Bloody images coming out, had no buttons. It's just going to be a touchpad. Everyone was going, "Oh my god, these leaked pictures! What are Nintendo doing?" Turns out it was made by a bloke with a 3D printer. So those it's comedy. Well, the thing is, it looked good. He'd done a good job, the guy, and he must have leaked it to the right people to make it get the snowball. But it looks very, very, very real. And I tell you what gave it the substance is because this is based on a patent that Nintendo have. So he's basically looked at the pattern, looked at the design, and gone, right, I'm going to build that. And people kind of already had that in their minds. But I don't know if you guys saw the pictures of it, but it looked like that was.
It did look legit.
It looked legit, but I was thinking, oh my god, that is going to be so bad to play with.
I wouldn't. It didn't look like it moulded a hand at all. No. Like it just looked. It looked like it was completely. It was flat as with. It was like one of the old SNES controllers, wasn't it? But
yeah.
Like
it's
a
Batman
century.
symbol.
Yeah.
It was almost like a big Batman symbol. It was. I mean. Sigh of relief for people looking at the NX, I think. But the thing you have to remember is Nintendo have that pattern in the bag, so it could form something like this. It could end up, and they're crazy enough to do it, but they're good enough to make it work. Hopefully. Yeah. Anyway, let's close this particular podcast down. It's getting on top of everyone. This one, I can feel it. Let's wrap it up. If you want to get in contact with us, tweet us at Dimp Digital. Like our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Dimp Digital, and email us at dimpdigitalmedia.com. If you're listening to this, subscribe. If you're on Android, download Player FM. Great podcast app. Apple, we're on iTunes, and we're on Windows as well. Do not forget about the Dimp Digital YouTube channel, dimpdigital.com. It's not actually, it's youtube.com/Dimp Digital. But if you can't be asked of all that, just head over to dimpdigital.com and you'll find everything we do, including some mystery blogs from whoever. Where people are actually writing stuff on there. We do know them, to be fair, but Destiny Dave's been putting up some very in detail articles.
Good lad, he is. Good lad.
And I was expecting more from you, Logan, if I'm honest. I thought you was into
I am due another one, yeah. I am due another one. I just haven't had time recently, but I will be doing another podcast short. Bloody hell.
Will you? I might have you back after this one.
Not. Fucking crap. Yeah, I'll be doing another blog shortly, I think.
Yep. I'm planning to document my Kickstarter journey. Need to Know is the game that I've backed, and I wanted to kind of document that once I start getting a build of the game and go through that with people. So I'm going to try and do that, but you know how lazy I am when it comes to typing things. I can barely type out the agenda for this bollocks. So we
just do voice recordings. That's what you do best.
That would be far easier. Although the shark intakes of breath, I've noticed, are annoying me. I can hear that every fucking 10 minutes when I'm listening to them, so I need to try and actively cut that out.
Radio voice. That's what they do.
That is. Yeah, it's poor though. They do it silently. I'm bloody go when you can hear it. Jesus. That's it
Listen
for now.
To Chris Tarrant.
Is he
Chris
poor?
Tarrant loves that. Yeah, he loves doing that.
Oh, maybe I'll keep it then. If it's Chris Tarrant, who wants to be a millionaire? Thank you. That's it for now though. Game over. It's goodbye from Logan.
What?
It's goodbye from Pepper.
Toodaloo.
That's goodbye from me, Apps. Thanks for your time, and ta-da. Hello? What's happened there?
Fucking hell. He put himself on mute, didn't he?
Wow.
Oh.
How'd you get clicked off?
Just it went silent, and then the call dropped.
Me and Piper carried on about 6 minutes after. Had to finish the segment off.
No, there's nothing there.
Wow.
Just went silent.
We never quite got your opinion on it, so we're going to just bin that because it got ended. But basically just said, which one do you think will happen? We both picked number 2, more powerful.
Is it necessary for us to go back, or is it possible just?
I think it's just bin it. It's just possible to segregate. Transition, sorry.
Just stick this bit in the end. Logan, what's your choice?
Yeah, what was your choice? Because you fucking left us to get a coffee.
What's the options?
What do you think? Don't know. Very much so. Do you? Which one do you reckon it will be then from Sony? What to get this? You got three. What do you think they're doing?
1, 2, or 3?
I reckon they are doing 3.
You think they're just going to be existing PS4 4K output? Sounds like that's what you hope, not what you think.
No, I think it might be a slimline with 4K.
Option 1.
Yeah, 1.
Christ.
Jesus, that was like trying to get fucking blood out of
I've been stressing out here, going, what the fuck's going on? Why is there just radio silence from these cunts?
Well, we were blabbering. No, you went
It wasn't going to be us two, was it? It wasn't the two people going to cut off exactly the same time.
Oh, fucking unreliable shit, isn't it?
It is shit, this thing.